We've talked on the YouTube channel a number of times, guys, about Rainbow Six and the future of this franchise. And, one of the things that obviously is coming up, pretty soon is going to be Rainbow Six Quarantine. And I'm incredibly excited about Rainbow Six Quarantine, guys, because you guys know me. I'm really big into the horror genre of video games as well as movies. And this looks like a game that's got some mystery to it. It looks like a pure horror shooter game, and I'm excited to say the least for what Ubisoft has got up their sleeve with this title and what this is necessarily going to be. How this is going to maybe tie into, just the Rainbow Six universe as a whole, or is this just going to be completely its own thing where it'll just kind of sit as kind of a side story, a side missions, because they've kind of stated that's going to be heavily based around co-op. So I really wanted to take this segment of the show and talk about everything that we want out of Rainbow Six Quarantine. And once again, guys, as I said, when I speak about what we want, I'm stating what I want and what my opinions are. I know some of you will share similar opinions, and if you don't, or even if you do, I'd love to know what you guys want to see in Rainbow Six Quarantine in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. And really, guys, the number one thing for me is, I kind of alluded to this, where Ubisoft has stated that this is going to be really a co-op based game, which is great. I'm excited about it. Lots of horror games out there are actually going this direction. However, one thing that I want is I want to be able to have the option to play it by myself with the AI as like my partners, instead of having to play co-op or play with somebody at all times. Sometimes it's nice to play the story by yourself, and then other times it's nice to play with people. So I just hope that there's the option. If I want to play it by myself and play that story through, and then maybe the second time around I want to play with my friends, I want to have that option to do so. I don't want to be forced into having to play it from a co-op perspective. Leads me into number two, guys. I hope that this story, and what I want from this story, is a lot of surprises, a lot of, like I said, horror elements. Obviously, this is a shooter game, guys, but I love that there's going to be, this is going to be more of a horror shooter, in the Rainbow Six universe, which I think is going to be something that could be very special moving into this title. And so, for me at least, I want there to be, obviously those significant horror elements. I want there to be a lot of mystery throughout the course of this, and I'm hoping that this really actually builds from Rainbow Six Quarantine to, say, maybe a sequel to it. I just hope that they build something on the side here, because for me personally, there's so many shooters out there and not as many horror games that come out, guys. And so I really hope that this does well as a horror shooter, that we get continuations of it as we go. And hopefully, from at least the trailers and such, it looks really good. I hope it is absolutely that. Now, that leads me to the next thing, guys. I am wanting, obviously, those surprises. I want there to be, a lot of surprise here from Ubisoft. Part of me wonders, is this going to be a semi-open world? Is this going to be more of a linear story? If we go based on the past and the stories that they've told, whether that be in Rainbow Six Vegas or some of the other titles in the universe, what I will say is that it seems like it's most likely going to be a linear story. It probably won't be, semi or full open world, which would be interesting. But I think what I want, guys, is kind of what's worked up to this point, especially being the first of its kind in the Rainbow Six universe. I kind of want it to be a linear story that we understand. I hope it's a long story, though. I really hope that it's a long, drawn-out campaign that we can really enjoy. There's things like collectibles and things of that nature that we can really start learning about this world within Rainbow Six. Leads me to the next thing, guys. Another thing that I really want is multiplayer. Look, Rainbow Six Siege has done such a good job where that multiplayer experience has grown drastically. I mean, this is one of the bigger esports out there now, guys. And, it's because the developers believed in the game. And even though they got a lot of backlash at first, it eventually really picked up. And now they're doing incredibly well. And so what I want to see in Rainbow Six Quarantine, obviously, is a campaign and a co-op missions or a campaign as well, but I also want to see multiplayer elements to it. And from what's been revealed, about the game, it looks like there's a lot of customization options and such, which kind of leads me to believe that there's a possibility we're going to get multiplayer in this game, and I really hope we do. And, you know, having multiplayer modes, they already know what's worked for them with Rainbow Six Siege, so that should make it a pretty, you know, a pretty easy transition to Rainbow Six Quarantine. Even though there'll be different maps, there'll be different things like that, I still think having multiplayer modes would be absolutely awesome in this universe. And that leads me to the next thing. When it comes to the co-op side of things, I'd love there to be like other co-op missions or co-op game modes you can play with your friends or even play with other people out there, similar to like Gears of War, where they have horde mode where you're going up against waves and waves of enemies. It'd be interesting to see this in the Rainbow Six universe, in Rainbow Six Quarantine, having something similar to a horde mode where you're going up against waves and waves of enemies and you try to complete though each wave, you know, with your friends or with just other people across the world. So that would be really interesting and something that I would really like to see as well. More ways than one to connect with this game. And, you know, some of the concerns I have is that maybe that they're just going to have a co-op campaign and that's all it's going to be. They're not going to add really anything. Maybe they'll add DLC here or there, but I really just hope, guys, that we get a full package deal here. And that's what I'm kind of trying to get across, is that that's the big thing for me, is having a full package with Rainbow Six Quarantine to really see the continuation of this franchise and just even the side story and, you know, sub-franchise within the overall series of Rainbow Six, I think would be really great. And then, you know, that leads me into kind of the last thing here, guys, which is obviously going to be the customization and earnable items. So I'm hoping with multiplayer, you're going to be able to have a lot of customization options, whether that's your character, your guns, your, you know, whatever it might be, right? I would like to see a lot of customization. I'd like to see a lot of earnable items. So when you're in the in-game lobbies, you get to kind of see what everybody else's rank is. You get to see the titles, the emblems that they've earned throughout the game to show how much time they put into the game and such, or just what they've earned along the way. And I think that's something that gets the community to continue trying to like earn things within the game instead of buying like microtransactions and such, just cosmetic items, which obviously is probably going to be in the game. However, I want to see more earnable items and, you know, customizable items over the microtransactions as a whole. But with that, guys, that is all the things that I want. You know, one that I haven't mentioned was a free-to-play game. I don't believe that Rainbow Six Quarantine is going to be free to play. It'd be cool because then you get a lot of people to try it out. If there's a multiplayer modes, I would definitely say I would hope maybe some of the multiplayer modes would be free to play so everyone could try it. I just don't know if Ubisoft's going to do that. I highly doubt it. This is one of their biggest franchises, and I feel that they're not going to probably make it free to play. But nonetheless, guys, these are the things that I want out of Rainbow Six Quarantine. What are the things that you want? Let me know in the comment section below. And for more Rainbow Six Quarantine content and videos, stay here with Zero TV.